Welcome to Burnout Box, Season 2, Episode
16.
16.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, with me and Rebecca and our new baby.
Yeah. We're all here.
We're all here. And we got some parts with us too. So more about those later. Or sooner than later.
Coyote Kelly says, what's up?
Hey, Coyote Kelly.
JNTX says, hey guys and gals.
Hello.
We got people watching already.
Coyote Kelly says, I see some burnt pistons.
The Burnt Piston. We are changing the name of Burnout Box to the Burnt Piston.
Oh, that could be interesting. Travis Shot says, what's up, everybody?
Hi, Travis.
Another
Hey,
regular.
Travis. As the Ring Turns, another potential show name. Because, you know, rings can move around on pistons until you melt them. And I'm going to say, a lot of these rings don't move. Sorry, Carrie.
No, you're good. That's all I have right now.
Check out the color on this. This is like the color of the water here.
That's weird.
Chuck will appreciate seeing that color somewhere else besides the water.
Casati's on the line.
Hey, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Chris Tropia's on the line.
Hey, Chris.
Hi. Chris is our behind-the-scenes cameraman.
Nastang 87XX said, just came on, the F-150 goodies?
Yeah.
Question mark?
A couple of them are. So this is from Autovlog's F-150, as is that. I know there's a lot of talk around, there's a lot of views on the video of his truck getting a motor, so I figured what better than to put some broken parts out on the table and talk about them at some point during the show.
JN2X says he watched them being pulled out.
You watched
Awesome.
Cool. Cool.
Watch them pull them out, so he watched the video.
Cool. Very cool.
So a couple of these pistons actually are yours.
Yeah, and you know, retrospectively, they don't look that. I mean, not something I want, but
It's traumatic when you blow a motor.
it is.
It's real
Especially-
traumatic.
Like, I think when that engine blew up, I was going about 100 miles an hour. I was slowing down at about 100 miles an hour, decelerating at 100 miles an hour, and water did get under the tire.
Yeah, and there's
And that was not fun.
there's a lot of reasons like you should try to avoid having your engine blow up like while
That's
racing.
a really good one.
Yeah,
Because water under your tire sucks.
I saw the water plume at the 1,000-foot mark.
Yeah, you were yelling about pulling a chute and whatever.
Yeah. No, that was before you had a chute.
This time, okay. I thought
Yeah.
you meant another time. What's not a blown up engine.
So
actually.
if you only pressurize the cooling system, then and you have the hood that Rebecca has, all the water just goes over the top of
It
the
goes
car.
straight over the top. That's like the ride, the log
Yeah.
ride.
The log ride.
The rooster tail.
Plume.
So that's another story. But this was from a catastrophic engine failure that Rebecca had about 5 years ago,
Yeah, Evie was a baby.
where the side of the block vented, unfortunately. So
Yep, I did a good job.
yeah, you did a
it.
good job. And these rings almost come off.
Eric says, hello, getting the next generation started young.
Yes,
Very young.
not even 3 weeks old.
Even Utero, she was listening to dyno noises and race car noises and stuff like that.
Nastang says, looks like war paint to me, LOL. Just
Yeah, get a little dirty oil here. We were talking about sparkly oil, another
Oh yes.
indication of some degree of engine failure.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah.
Steve Hall says, hello, everyone.
Hi, Steve.
Overall Cactus 74 says, hi.
Hi, cactus person.
There aren't really any questions, just everybody's kind of chiming in saying hello.
Statements, yeah. So we want to
We're
talk
here,
about
they're here.
we want to talk about Autoblog's pistons and rods.
Yeah, let's go for it. They look a little crispy.
Yeah, and I mean, this is it's hard to see much of a difference in the pattern. So the big thing for me is that the rings are fine on this piston, and on this piston, the rings
Not so
are
fine.
seized. And you can even see where the skirt has got
Yeah.
scuffing and excessive wear.
I can't, yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is kind of like one of the better methods of failure because nothing broke or busted. We got some stuff. From the top, it looks perfectly fine. And from the side, it's very, very unhappy.
It's very not fine.
This is an aftermarket catalytic converter failure at about 750 wheel horsepower on a Gen 2 Coyote. And heat, pressure, rings got hot, expanded. Like, you can't
Warped?
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine that you could do much with, yeah.
Yeah. Just
This one is somewhere inside.
just decided to bust the bottom of the piston out, and that's that. And then this is another stock piston from a motor that Casati rebuilt for a friend. So they did a good number on that one.
Yeah, that's pretty melty. That looks kind of Chernobyl-y.
This is like intercooler pump failure. Just take a torch. Basically the same thing that happens when you have massive amounts of detonation due to high air temps. So have you, are you familiar, how familiar are you with some of the failure processes on internal combustion engines?
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to screw stuff up.
So if you have a little bit of detonation and you basically disrupt the boundary layer around the combustion process from those shock waves, and now the heat of combustion comes in direct contact with the head, the cylinder wall, and the piston top. And that's where it starts to melt through. Normal combustion, there's actually an insulating air layer around the combustion process that keeps everything from melting. Mm-hmm. It's like, how does this, do you know the temperature, the reaction temperature of fuel and air?
No, I don't.
It's like a couple thousand degrees. And we know aluminum starts to melt around like 1200. So that's kind of why these parts stay together, and then when things go bad, they come apart very quickly.
You have a number of questions actually surrounding this right now. Nastang says, so the F-150 Coyote pistons and the Mustang Coyote pistons are not the same part number, correct?
Correct, that's a good one.
Yes.
You can,
Go ahead.
and just to add to that, you can actually see this is a 10.5 to 1 piston, and this is an 11 to 1 piston. There's a Coyote actually has a dome to the piston to get that 11 to 1 ratio. And I would say the F-150 is almost a flat top. It's got a little bit raised.
Pretty freaking flat though.
Dale says, hello. Wild Test Services LLC says, what do you guys see as the most common failures engine-wise on boosted 5.0s?
That's a good question.
So running out of fuel system, and then if you have enough octane, like you can run a little bit lean and be fine. And I feel like running lean, people tend to blow head gaskets.
Head gaskets, head gaskets just...
No, yeah, I mean, they're kind of the fuse in some cases.
Yeah.
But only in some cases. So this is worth noting because a lot of people get scared about running lean. And I mean, we even get calls about my car's 1.0 at idle. Is that too lean or part throttle? Well, you're supposed to be stoic at idle and low loads. At wide open throttle, you need enrichment to cool the combustion chamber. And there's actually a danger zone where you've got enough fuel for like a pretty hot burn, but you don't have enough to cool it down. That is the problem area. Like if you run really lean, like you have 2 fuel pumps, or maybe you have 3 fuel pumps and like 2 of them die, you will run so lean that you won't hurt anything. It's only that transition from going from rich to very lean, if you spend too much time in the middle where you generate a lot of heat and a lot of cylinder pressure and you actually hurt stuff. Like it's important to kind of understand that because you ran lean once, it's not the end of the world.
Eric Holiday says detonation kills pistons.
That's true.
And like, I I always tune cars on the dyno with the windows up because I can hear what the engine's doing. And if the exhaust isn't too loud, I can hear knock and I can let out. And but if you stay in it, you disrupt that boundary layer and that detonation just destroys the piston, like Eric said. And it can destroy the block, the cylinder head. It'll torch material out the side of the block. I wish we had some pictures of that because that's what happened to your one engine.
Oh, I wish I wouldn't have any pictures of that.
Jay wants to know, so failed cat caused Autoblog's problem. What happened to Rebecca's?
Rebecca's, you want to tell him? I can tell him too.
I know what happened. Intercooler pump failure.
Yeah, everybody that's got these aftermarket ice tanks and a bunch of lines and all kinds of wiring going on and stuff like that, that intercooler pump keeps that frickin' supercharged engine alive at 20 pounds of boost.
Mm-hmm. And is the reason that I am constantly checking air temps and engine temps, after my burnout, before my burnout, after my burnout, down track, especially if I'm 8th mile racing, once I'm past the 8th mile, I look, I'm fanatical about it.
And we put, I put a lot of safeguards in the tune for air temperature.
Absolutely. And I mean, it saved my butt last time we had a pump failure.
Yeah. But
But I knew too, because I took my foot off the gas right away.
Depending on a bunch of circumstances, the amount of boost you're running, the fuel you're running, the timing, sometimes you cannot pull timing fast enough for air temp.
And my eyes are a safeguard too. If I look and I see something's not right, if I come out of the burnout box and temps are sky high, I know something's not working, or maybe I forgot to flip the switch. And it always cues me to look up at my intercooler pump switch too.
Cobra Black says, Autovlog's truck kept me from supercharging my truck.
Don't be scared.
It's a lot more fun to be supercharged than not supercharged.
Overall Cactus is talking about Autoblog's got himself a new Ferrari. Did you see that?
I saw that. I congratulated him on that. That's awesome.
I did not see it.
It's red.
It's white.
Oh, it's white?
It's white with red interior.
Oh, I saw the interior. Okay.
It's a 2015 F12.
Wow.
That's what he got.
Very cool.
Coyote Kelly says, will y'all increase the ring gap slightly when rebuilding the motor?
Absolutely. That, I was telling somebody that there's the school of thought to take Gen 2 Coyote engines and just open up the ring gaps and run them at 1,000 horsepower. So, what happens too is the ring gets too hot and expands and it starts to break off the ringland here. So if you can open up the gap and keep that from happening, from it butting the rings and popping up, then that's one less failure point.
Yep.
And with an aftermarket build, it's something you got to do too.
And what is my least favorite part of engine building?
Rings.
Yes. Freaking hate it. It
Tough
hurts
on
my
the-
fingers. I don't like it, and I'm a baby about it.
Tough on the fingers, yeah. And I don't know, there's the ring expander tools and there's all the different stuff and it makes it easier, but it's still a pain in the butt.
Your mom says hi.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Cindy.
Kellen Stone
Hey, Kellen.
says hi. Michael Siborowski and Jeff Smith looks like they joined us.
Hey,
Hey,
guys.
So Kelly Aiken says, yep, that was an intercooler pump issue, 100%, smart dude. And then Travis says, when data logging the VMP tune, what should be selected to whoever looks at the log will see what is wanted to be seen?
That's a great question. So we have some lists floating around and we have some actual config files that we will just send to you. So hit us up just for data logging instructions and the tuning department can send them over.
We'll send this stuff.
Chad Dowd is on the line. Hi, Chad.
Hey, Chad. Chad's in the middle of building an engine right now.
1805 Boss says lean condition effect.
So being lean creates heat. Heat makes you more likely to detonate. Detonation causes damage. You go too lean, you don't create enough heat or enough cylinder pressure to do any damage or to create detonation. So there's a very narrow window where being lean can cause a multitude of issues. And that's, but it's bad, basically.
Travis says, thanks, Justin. Zell says, my Supercharged GT is set to 20.75 timing. Today I'm only seeing 15.5 with no knock. Any ideas?
And what year GT is it?
He does not say.
Let's assume it's a Coyote. So the amount of timing that you can run, the amount of time that you run is based on a table that is dependent on the weighting factor or the cam pair that you're in at that moment. So if your variable cam system is not working, you will not get full timing. So that's the reason why we look at a variety of parameters in a data log to get the whole picture of what's going on.
Anthony Jenkins says, Gen 2 rocking my world. Hey guys.
Hey, Anthony.
It's good to hear. Gen 2 out there kicking butt.
Ship from Shinola says, ship fuel.
So, bad fuel.
Yeah.
Will have enough octane, and we know that low octane will cause detonation, and that'll lead to piston or engine damage if it continues for too long.
Peyton Lucas says, here people say 91 octane is sweeter in some areas than others. Have you guys heard that 91 is in Missouri?
I would say that you've got different blends of fuel for emissions in different parts of the country, and you have winter-summer blends for like volatility and initial cold start and stuff like that, and sometimes those winter blends of gasoline don't seem to truly have as much octane. So I think that's where the idea comes from, that there's sweeter or less sweet fuel.
HP Revolution wants us to do a video on installing nitrous on an S550.
Installing nitrous the right way, because there's a right and a wrong way to do stuff with that. Nitrous is a very powerful animal, also very dangerous if things go wrong. And they go wrong quickly on nitrous.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Florida says, I like EGT probes because they can tell you instantly something has happened that shouldn't be.
I think your new headers have...
I was looking at that today.
Yeah, EGT bungs all over them.
Yep, they do. They were like peeking out over the shelf when we were looking for those pistons. I was like, oh, I know those are mine because they have the bungs on them. Without even being able to see anything except for the bung.
Michelle Wilbur's on the line.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey!
Grego says, would a brushless intercooler pump have prevented that failure?
If it was working. I mean, just any pump's got to be working.
Yeah.
Eric Holiday says, small ring gap can let the rings butt.
Right.
I'll throw this one out there for Eric. Do you know or have much experience with the gapless rings that are actually designed to overlap instead of butt?
Who makes the gapless rings?
One of the piston ring manufacturers. I don't remember who it is, but I was reading about that and thinking about it. So you get into like the real science of like race motors, and there's different ring materials. There's stuff that's designed to last for a lot of miles. There's stuff that's designed to be stronger and harder for short-term race motor use. Because most race motors that are being pushed to the limit, they kind of are just on the very edge to make the most power and be the most competitive. And that's
Yes, Total Seal. That's who I was thinking. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I don't remember, but yeah, that's the name that I was thinking of.
Eric Holiday says only in NA engines.
Okay, that makes sense.
Drew Rainbolt says, what up, guys?
Hi.
Overall Cactus says, you guys are amazing.
Thanks.
Looks like Jonathan Whitaker says, good afternoon.
Hello.
Jonathan Whitaker, we're going to be learning a lot about head gaskets soon. I'll leave it at that.
Whoa, that's a long
So
comment.
this is a Molly forged piston right here. And at one point, I remember Kelly Aiken wanted these and to see if he could reuse them. And it's funny, the rings aren't really seized in them. I feel like, you maybe
Let me see that one.
you could sand the burrs off. That's the worst looking one of the batch.
Yeah, and it's missing the
And,
top.
and the point of this is that the forged pistons are not immune to damage or failure, but they're certainly a little more resilient.
Yeah, a little more robust.
And you can see like where the pin goes through, they don't make the ring area as thin as they do on a factory piston. Like that's just like a failure waiting to happen, and you can see over here on the other side, that's where it decided to fail.
Jameson says, first off, congratulations. Second,
Thank
I'm
you.
looking to modify my dad's 5.4 liter 3-valve F-150 to increase power a little. What suggestions do you have?
We have got great tunes for the 5.4 liter 3-valve, a tune and a cold air. It's pretty much where it's at for that truck, and then beyond that, I wouldn't mess with it too much. Like the problem with those trucks is, and all 3 valves, if you supercharge them, now you make as much power as a Coyote does stock.
Riley wants to know, what's a stronger engine, rods, pistons wise, the 4.6 Terminator or the 5.2 Voodoo? I know both are forged.
So the Cobra's a stronger motor. Like, I don't know. GT350 is high volume production forged. Like the OEMs have worked with their suppliers and improved the quality of the product to where it meets their durability goals. Whereas like the 03 Cobra actually had like aftermarket style Manley H-beam rods from the factory and a forged piston from the factory too. So like, I don't know, you can't argue with that in some ways versus like, the GT350's got a powder metal forged rod, but it's still powder metal.
Right.
HP Revolution wants to know, how fast can an S550 go with a one-piece drive shaft?
As fast as you want, as long as you don't launch it too hard.
Ehsan says, hey Justin, there are some tuners that won't tune 18 Mustangs with superchargers unless you run race gas or E85. Are they overly cautious, or is the 18 just too sensitive to boost with regular 91?
So, like, I talked about race motors like being tuned like on the very edge, and like you have to tune appropriately for what you're trying to do and the parameters like that you have available to you. Like if you have to run 91, then you just don't tune as aggressively, you run less timing.
Yeah, I mean,
You won't make as much horsepower, but that's a known trade-off.
you also, you're going to protect your engine a little bit better. So, yeah, it's just a compromise.
Now, cue the boostane to drop from the ceiling. Don't drink it. Put it in your gas tank. Just put boostane in your car. You don't have to go get boostane, Chris. We're good.
Florida says, Flor, it's kind of funny actually, it's Floor, FLOOR/it/duh, but it's Florida.
Ah,
Actually kind of funny.
that is funny.
You want to see the damage he can cause to an engine? I should send pics of a Lycoming T53 we tore down that got too much fuel and burned the turbine blades.
Ooh.
Pretty impressive.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Huncho James says, boosted 1114 or 7 to 9 GT500. Can't decide. Would like to hear pros and cons. Aiming for 10-second timing.
So, this is like GT500 buyer's guide. When we do that video, maybe we'll like compare and contrast the Coyote or something. Maybe that's a separate video. Should I get a GT500 or should I get a Coyote?
I think we should do a separate video on that.
Yeah.
Well, this could be like debate team.
That's right.
I know which side I would want to take.
So we were in that position. I had an 07 GT500.
And I have an 11 GT.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you who went faster at the end of the day.
Still going faster. Still have the car.
Still going faster. Yeah. Yeah. This is true.
I was going to say, who's still racing at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Like.
And light years faster. Like, I'd reach the moon and he wouldn't.
Over the moon.
House of Mods says, I'm about to install the Gen 3 setup on my 17 Coyote. Currently I'm on E85, and yes, I have high flow catless catback with long tubes. No cats. What can I do to keep the air temps down?
So basically, Gen 3 is very efficient. You don't have to spin it very hard. The dual fan triple pass heat exchanger and all that stuff takes care of you pretty well to like 800 to 1,000 rear wheel horsepower. If you're going to go for over like 1,000 rear wheel, there's some stuff that we want to see you do. Pump upgrades, line upgrades, stuff like that.
So John, this is very interesting. So John says that about 2 months ago he installed a Gen 2R Stage 2 kit on his 15 GT with a 79mm pulley. He has Cook's long tubes that originally had cats. He spoke to his tuner, told him he should remove the cats because he would most likely melt them. So he took the advice and ordered the off-road cat deletes. He says the car runs amazing, however, he can't stand how loud it is. He says, I want to put cats back on now before my dyno appointment. Apparently he's meeting with us at Carlisle. In your opinion, can I run with the high flow cats that came with my headers without issues, or would it be best to drop $1,200 on Cook's green cats? P.S. If I don't drop the $1,200 on the cats, what's your suggestion to get more power for my dyno appointment?
Well, so this is the conundrum, the smell and the sound of no cats.
Yep.
And also having no catalytic converters and a license plate is illegal. We can thank SEMA for pushing the RPM Act to where at least if you don't have a license plate, you have a race-only vehicle that's not operated on the streets, you're entitled to convert that vehicle to a race-only vehicle. I have personal experience with Cook's Green Cats. They've been in my truck for 30,000 miles, and they've held up to all the abuse that my F-150 gets. They're something that hasn't broken along with the engine not breaking. So they're expensive, but yeah, that's kind of the best option. And you know what? If we have a set here that we would sell for like $750 if you wanted to have them welded into one of your mid pipes, just hit me up. I've got those out in the warehouse.
House of Mods, who was just talking about installing the Gen 3 on a 17 Coyote, said, thanks, Justin. $750 to the wheel is the goal.
Gen 3 will do that very, very easily.
Drew says, love hearing the little one in the mix. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She's a noisy one.
She is. She was sleeping on me last night, and I was surprised.
She's a very stark contrast to Orion, who was
quiet,
not noisy at all. Still not noisy.
Go for Chuck's Game says, hey guys, glad I caught the show today.
As if on cue.
That's funny.
Hey, you're kind of far away from me. I'm going to come a little closer.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. Hi. We just had a baby.
I did.
Together. Well, you did all the work.
I did do all the work.
But it's our baby.
You did a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the work.
It keeps coming up, and that's another story.
Ryan says, I am looking to put spray on my FBO E85 17 GT. What shot do you guys recommend that won't hurt the motor over a long period of time, as it is my daily, but I street race it?
So we hear that a lot from like I just want to do a little bit, and if I don't do it too often, I won't hurt anything, and that's probably true. It's that one greedy incident. I just turned up the boost controller an extra 2 pounds to beat my friend, and there went my motor. If done properly, 150 shot, this is not a problem. If it's just that one moment where it's too lean or your bottle pressure is 1400 because it's been sitting in the sun and, you know, stuff goes wrong.
James says, what would be a safe nitrous limit on a plate kit with a standalone?
So, I wonder what kind of plate kit he's talking about.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions right now.
I like the idea of the standalone because you get more control and
Right.
you can bring the nitrous on progressively, and you can put a lot of safeguards in place. Like with a standalone, if it goes lean, you can turn the nitrous off.
Yeah.
The plate kit, like I'd like to see. Okay, here's the deal. Like, don't try and flow a ton of fuel through an intake manifold. So a throttle body plate kit, like 150, 200 max. And there's other realistic limitations you run into, like a single line, a single solenoid. If you want to go over 150 to 200, like you need to start thinking about dual solenoids and like other upgrades just to get enough flow into the engine. And that usually results in a spray bar type kit or foggers for each runner.
Bless you.
Thank you. If you have one of the aftermarket intake manifolds, or you can even plumb like the Boss intake manifold, there's all this room in the valley, so you know you get all this piping and stuff up there and shooting into the manifold. Looks kind of cool.
Forced induction drive says, I have a Gen 3 Stage 3 kit on my 15 Mustang with stock cats. Autoblog's truck has me concerned about cat failure. I need to keep cats for OBD to emissions compliance. Any suggestions?
So it would really come down to what you do with the truck. There's what's called a cat temperature model. The computer is estimating based on airflow and load and time how hot the cats are getting, and then when it goes over the temperature rating of the substrate, it starts to enrich fuel to cool those cats off. There's two things that usually happen, and that's that the factory fuel pump maxes out because you're supercharged and you're trying to run like 10-to-1 air fuel to cool the cats. Or you're in a situation where you are running wide open throttle for so hard for so long that you just can't cool the cats down. Like, for the most part, cat temperature models are usually only triggered like above 100 miles an hour after you've gone watt for through like 2 or 3 or 4 gears, and you're at 100 miles an hour, like you went watt from a dead stop and you've been watt for 10 or 15 seconds. Like a lot of cars on dyno pulls that have like, say, any amount of power, 500-600 wheel, they'll pull the dyno so quick that you'll never go into cat protection. It's usually like at the track in 3rd or 4th gear, you'll see cat protection come in. And my point of this is that like if you're just getting up to the speed limit really quick, 1st and 2nd gear blasts and stuff like that, like the danger to your cats is a whole lot lower.
Eric Holiday says the Voodoo rods are interesting because they don't have tangs for the bearings.
Oh, so they use a special bearing. That's cool.
Jay wants to know about the durability of the VMP cooler pump.
It's very good. So it's the Bosch pump. It's the same Bosch pump that has been used in GT500s, Lightnings, 03 Cobras. And we can kind of speak to the durability because those cars have been in here with 70,000, 100,000 miles, and we've seen the bad pumps, and that seems to be about the lifespan of them. And you know, like in a street application where you're just doing quick blasts and stuff like that, even if your pump was bad, you just have reduced power, you wouldn't have failure. It's, you know, like when Rebecca had a failure, she was on a 1/4 mile pass at like 20 plus pounds of boost. So it was very, very magnified. Any issues were magnified.
And full disclosure, the failure for these pistons, I didn't turn on the pump. Like, it was me. I failed.
She'll never make that mistake again.
No, that's why I said that. I'm neurotic about looking at all of that stuff over and over again.
So these were the tangs that Eric Holliday was talking about. Eric, I wonder if it's because the cap cracking process is like so inconsistent they don't want to try to line up a tang or something.
Riley wants to know, could 9s be achieved from a Gen 3 Coyote 10R80 swap into a lightweight Fox body naturally aspirated? I know the current record car has a 10.2 at 133. I think that it would be reliable and fun.
If you put, I mean, like the Gen 3 Coyote with a 10R80, I mean, you can get 500 wheel out of that thing. And we know at the right weight, 500 wheel go 9s.
Yep.
Coyote Kelly says, Justin, you have the same thought process as me, that if you take a stock G2 and just open the ring gap slightly, it will likely hold 1,000 wheel horsepower pretty reliably.
Yeah, and you know, like honestly, I got that idea from Paul Ferdinando because he did it. So I don't want to claim that idea, but you know, the other end of it is, unless you have the ability to do all that stuff yourself and you can do it for free, if you do go to those lengths, it's usually really easy to put pistons and rods in there, and then at least your labor efforts were paid off for putting, you know, $1,500 worth of parts in the engine.
R. Forrest wants to know, is it worth upgrading a 12 GT500 to a 1314 intercooler? I know the 1314 flow better.
So that's a great question and kind of a pet peeve of mine.
I know it is.
What component of the intercooler? The one under the blower, the one in the grill, or the higher flowing intercooler pump? And I can speak to the one under the blower is basically the same. There was a supplier change and Ford Racing started selling it as an upgrade. I don't believe it's any better. The one in the grill is better on 1314. If you got it real cheap and you were once again working on your car yourself, it's an improvement. But like for most people, they're going to want to do like the VMP dual fan triple pass heat exchanger.
Aftermarket.
Yeah. We're I didn't tell you guys, but we're installing one of those on Andrew's car Monday afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he's been asking me for like 2 weeks, and you know, Rebecca just had the baby and stuff. So I'm like, why don't you move it Monday afternoon? We'll get this done. Oh no, Monday morning, because it's going to be hot in the afternoon.
Alexander says, hello everyone, Justin, Rebecca, little one, and Carrie. Jeff Lucina says, greetings.
Hey, Jeff.
Justin, Rebecca, I want to see that new baby.
Where are we going to see you next, Jeff? She's going everywhere with me, so if you see me, you're going to see her.
Yep.
Eric wants to know, are factory 09 GT500 mufflers really restrictive? I have cutouts, and to me, car seems to run way quicker with them open. Haven't had the chance to test at the track yet. Let me know what you think. Thanks, VMP.
I think the word on the street is those were like GT5 or GT automatic mufflers for like noise reasons or something. I don't usually see a performance increase on the dyno with restrictions that are that far downstream.
Right.
So I would be really surprised if it picked up any power. And we have a lot of customers like that have cutouts. And I'm like, hey, can you dyno it with the cutouts open on like the second pull? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Why not?
And you know, 1 to 5 horsepower.
Jay Laurie would like to know, what are the benefits of using comp cam stage 2 exhaust cams with stage 3 intake cams?
So we did that for a while. It was basically your car, you were still like driving it quite a bit back then.
Yeah.
And it's just like a milder setup. It idles more like stock, and it gets better gas mileage.
James Clark has, let's see.
Like 14s. I mean, we had a car on the dyno at Ponies and Smokies that was, what, 760 at the wheel, 2030 GT. I mean, as long as there's good fuel.